she is. And we were joining together on a conversation about presence in this awakening journey that so many of us are on and so many of our community is on. So we felt really called to chime in here today and share. Okay, accepting Brandy.
Okay. There we go. Hello, hello. I'm almost there.
Oh, good.
Hi.
Hi. I feel like I get to scoot this. Hi, Orla.
Hello, my dear.
Good to see you. Oh my gosh, Layla's on too. What's up, fam?
Look at us on Instagram and on Facebook. Hello. Hi, Grace Face. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Let's take a moment and become present, huh? Shall we?
Shall we? Brandy, I feel like you are echoing a little bit on your end. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you beautifully. How can I fix this?
Thank you, guys. If you're joining, just allow yourself to get settled. Maybe grab a water. Allow yourself to arrive to presence. Oh my gosh, it's Kristen. Hi, Kristen. Yay. We are just getting situated here and we'll be getting here shortly. So thank you so much for being here. It's really quiet.
Okay.
Oh, here. Nope, we're good now.
Okay, you can hear me and everything is good?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Perfect. Hi, everybody, and welcome to our first chat, Chelsey and I's first live quantum conversation. These quantum conversations are taking place here in this Zoom atmosphere or this social media atmosphere, and we have been having these conversations live with the people and places and spaces that we love so much and that we spend time in. But we've decided to come here into this dimension to bring some of our beautiful tips and tricks on deconditioning. We understand that the world around us is all awakening and lightning speed. And we, Chelsey and I, have gained and garnered and learned and polished some skills that help us all during this process. And so in these quantum conversations, these are going to be some yin conversations about how to stay in this process for yourself, how to stay belonged to yourself in this awakening process. And so we are a little bit late. We did say we were going to come here at 10:30. But Chelsey and I, we are lovers of presence, right, Chelsey?
We are the queens of presence. We honor it moment to moment.
We do, and so presence kept us in a conversation a little bit longer than we intended. And we want to be the role models and the way showers of that's okay. And exactly in the moment and in the expression is what will serve you best. So, ciao. Can you hear me?
You're breaking up just a little bit. Can you repeat that one more time?
Oh.
Try. Oh, there you are. There you are.
Okay, here I am. These portals, these dimensions, we're gonna get it someday.
We are. We're always like one day we're all just going to be divinely connected on every platform simultaneously. This is the perseverance of being present with all of our community all across the world. I'm in Costa Rica. Brandy's outside of Vegas right now. We have community. I know Arlath is chiming in from Ireland. Layla is in the LA area. So it's just It's just so special to know that we can really come together in presence from any which way. And so we just are grateful for y'all's patience within us making these efforts to honor presence with you all. And yeah, just a key of what Brandy was just sharing, just this importance that, of presence, a topic that's talked about, especially when you're going through this deconditioning journey, right? Awakening to what's really for you. And when to begin down that journey of curiosity, of getting to really know yourself, right? With Quantum Collective, it is the journey of knowing thyself at such a core soul level. And so you can be your authentic self. You can understand your full range of who you are and these emotions, and to learn to accept and not judge yourself. So you can just move through life in your skin, in your heart, in your soul, and in your body. And so that leads to our conversation today around presence and how important that is to be the number one tool to always prioritize when you're on this journey of awakening. Because at moment to moment, because a lot can come up when you are faced off with this learning yourself and being present with what triggers are coming up, what starts like rubbing you the wrong way. You're like, oh, I actually really like this, or I really don't like this anymore, or this is what lights me up. And really being able to get into that practice to take stock of what is for you, what's not for you, and to be in a space of really allowing yourself to accept yourself and show what needs to come up in order for it to be transmuted, so that you can really be yourself, not be swept and taken by the things in life that may be coming up that are in question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Brilliant. So let's go back to the basics.
Mm.
Am I echoing?
You're good.
I'm good. Okay, good. So what is present, right? Some people that haven't had practice in this wonder, they hear us say, of course I'm present, here I am. Well, what we're talking about when we talk about presence and this tool of presence, hold on real quick. I'm just hearing myself in the echo and it's, okay.
I think that might be better.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you, Layla.
There is an echo. I can hear you. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, how about now? So there's that.
So I'm going to turn that down and that down. Do you hear me now? Is there still an echo?
Try one more time, Brandy.
Thank you, Casey, too, for watching out.
Better.
Better? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So what is present? Presence is when all of the energy that inhabits your system is aware and inhabits your senses right now. Most of us live life not present, but we don't really know that. Our minds, when we're thinking about what we did yesterday or a year ago, or our minds when they try to plan and take us into tomorrow. This is when we're not present. This is when we don't have access to all of the energy in our system. Having access to all of the energy in our system allows us to do what Chelsey spoke of and be the purest, truest expression of ourselves. If we have our thoughts in tomorrow or in yesterday, we don't have access the self that we are today. And so when we are present, as Chelsey shared, we have access to things that we don't have access to without the presence. With presence, we can watch our maladaptive behaviors and thought patterns come into our life. We can watch them arise in our body. We can see the damage or beauty, whatever this belief system affects in the field. And we can see if that is the truest expression of who we are when we are present, when we have the energy here to see what is arising in the moment. When we are, why is it important? I bet we all have a bunch of stories about not being present in the moment and missing something, about thinking about yesterday and being lost. Here's one of my stories. I bet, Chelsey, you have a bunch of stories, but as a mother of 4, my children are all grown and left now, but looking back, I can remember so many moments in which I was worried about what was going to happen next, or I was too busy doing motherly things, getting the next thing done, that what I did was I missed those very special moments, sometimes with my children. Sometimes I missed those very special moments with myself, where I could have relished and luxuriated in the joy of the moment. But instead of doing that, I thought about how I could keep it like this forever. And so my mind went out of the joy forever and went into planning how I could do this forever and keep this feeling forever. And so in doing that, I lost the feeling. Have you ever had times like that?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Do you hear me talking?
There we go. Yeah. No, yes, thank you for sharing, Brandy. I'm with you. Like, it's so important. It's just another reminder of this importance, especially with our kiddos, that level of presence that is so important, to just that gift of living in the moment and reminding ourselves that every moment is a gift, and actually allowing ourselves to be in that pocket of time and the gift of what that pocket of time has to offer. And for me, I feel that a lot of times in my experience where I wish I would have been more present was, in really tender moments, right? Like tender moments with my family, right? Being home in Nebraska and feeling like I still needed to take so many work calls because I was focusing on my livelihood at the time. And then, they're honoring the flow and doing fun things or visiting in the living room. And, I was in a space of setting boundaries at that time to honor the present. Chelsea, you're home however many XYZ weeks out of the year. So concerned about the future of livelihood and paying bills and, being, enough and showing up and being my ambitious self, that luckily my family is extremely gracious and they love me and they champion me. And also my priority, is really checking with priorities of presence. And so just continuing to, it's just one small example of just how important it is. And I think it really comes down to, with this present experiment, this presence practice, is continuing to really think about what's important to you, right? What, through this journey of the tools that Brandy and I will be sharing with you towards the end of our call, is it gives us this beautiful opportunity when we know when we're not being present, right? And we know how it makes others feel. We know how it makes ourselves feel, right? And so something that's really going to support you in this is really what matters to you, like what really matters to you, and pulling in that awareness with the practice of presence. And it may be different for each and every one of us. But the greatest gift we can give ourselves and others is presence. And so
Mhm.
keeping that in mind.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you,
Yes,
Chelsea.
gosh, these
Yes, gosh,
stories
these stories
um, of missing the moment. The moment is where
moment is
life
where life
is. If we're
is.
going to
We're
get
going to get
philosophical and
philosophical,
a little
a little
mystical, the
mystical.
moment
The
is the
moment is the
only place
only
where
place
life
where life
lives,
lives.
where love lives. The moment, the now, is where
Is where
life
life
exists.
exists.
If
If
we
we
are
are
in
in
our
our
minds
minds
in
in
yesterday or
yesterday or
tomorrow,
tomorrow,
that is
that is
not
not
life.
life.
That
That
is
is
in our minds. That's in a different dimension. Um, in the moment is where you will find that everything is okay. Right here, right now, everything is okay. And in every single right here, right now, everything is
everything is
there
there.
that you need in this right here, right now. And so if we're talking about human design, and these are some of the tools that we're going to give you. So if we're talking about human design, for those of us who are experimenting with this wisdom knowledge, presence is the first step. Without presence, we cannot hear the wisdom of our body. Without being here right now in all of our five senses, we do not have the ability to hear our body's mechanism that tells us what the next right choice is. We have been, not that anybody is wrong, bad, or shameful for being in their minds and using their minds to strategize their life. The reason we've done that is because we have been left brain organisms that are here to use our left brain to figure things out and to compartmentalize and to strategize and to focus. And we are moving into a new time now where we don't have to work so hard, where we can be present to what is and allow that to show us where to use our mind. This is the easiest way to be yourself. Easier than trying to figure out your business or your relationships or your friendships or your life at all. You are designed as a human to have a trajectory. And when you follow your body by being aware of it in the present moment, it will send you into your purpose. Without presence, though, you're trying to strategize and trying to figure things out. Presence is the easiest thing to lose. But it's the quickest thing to regain, in my opinion. It is, presence is the thing that makes everything all right. Presence is the thing that regulates your nervous system. Presence is the thing that shows you what love sees. Becoming present is the thing that allows your body to feel all of its senses. I don't know about you, Chelsea, but sometimes in my practice, I have this experience of people living in their head. All of the energy that inhabits their body is taken up in this space. And when they take that energy and move down into their body, then they have a completely different experience of life. This is what we are here to do with the Quantum Collective, is to help you move that energy into your body so that you can have the most full experience of yourself in this life. I know that for me, when I lose the present moment, this is when I start creating stories. When I lose the present moment, this is when I'm like, why? Why did that happen? And then I create all of these stories that then create ripples of energy in other realms. None of that is needed. Presence takes all of that away and shows me only what's real. In presence is where we can feel beyond language. If you've ever sat with somebody and eye gazed, or even just sat next to them without saying anything, there's a million pieces of communication that are being transferred backwards and forwards without words in presence.
And really, like Brandy is sharing, that is where all the information exists. is
Mhm.
within the present. And, there's so many people that have a fear around presence, right? And actually turning that fear into curiosity,
Mhm.
allowing yourself to soften. As Brandy was sharing, in both her and I's purpose and the realms that we create impact, there's still, like she was sharing, a lot of individuals that are still in their head. And a lot of times, because of that, they are not wanting to be available what's truly present, because that's all they've known. That's all they've known, to keep going, keep grinding, keep figuring it out, keep being in survival mode, right? And think being so programmed to that's the answer, that's the way, right? And there's
Mhm.
also a deeper knowing, if we actually give ourselves the gift to slow down and be present, we may be
Mhm.
awakened to an entirely new set of realities that some are very excited to see, and then some know that changes get to be made, right? And so
Mhm.
with that journey of checking in with presence, really giving yourself the gift of that journey of self-love, so that when you are present, is that you're feeling nourished, right? You know that no matter what comes up in that present moment, that you have the breath, you have the connection to self, you have the eyes, you have, no matter what comes up, and actually giving yourself the gift to just see
Yeah.
what comes up.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
sometimes in the present moment, Chelsea, I know when I was first accessing the present moment, um, I was, oh yeah, 11:11, yay. I know when I was first learning to access the present moment, there was a lot of stuff that came up for me in which made me afraid to access the present moment again
Yeah.
because I spent so long not in the present. That there was a lot of things that I didn't deal with. And what I mean by deal with is a lot of feelings. Because in the present moment, when I have or we have a feeling or a chemical experience in our body, when we stay present with it, it's gone. It alchemizes. It comes in, we experience it, and it leaves. When we are not in the present moment and we have this chemical experience of, say, an emotion, and then we go thinking about the past and the last time this happened, and we think about the future and how we can stop this from ever happening again, what we are doing is taking that emotional chemical frequency and stuffing it into our bodies. And then it lives as density in our bodies. The present moment has every medicine that we need in order to alchemize every trauma we've experienced, period. And so it takes a little bravery when we first begin this presence practice, because what's going to come up is all that density that had not been alchemized for the past however long you've been alive, not knowing this tool. And so once you are able to access the present moment and you see it, you might become a little bit of a mess. And that's okay. That means you're doing it right. That's when it's time to, connect with the quantum collective, lock arms with us, and let us be your allies to continue to remind you of your magnificence, to hold you up when you can't remember where the present moment lives, when you're so lost in tomorrow and yesterday that you don't have access to yourself. This is when you need remembering. This is when we come together as allies and as a community, and we remind each other of who we are in the present moment. This is not something to be done alone in your room at night in your devotional time or whatever. This is every single moment, letting your community, your loved ones, your beloveds understand that you're really trying to learn how to be present. And so this present moment awareness may bring up some feelings and things that I get to process through. You get to tell your loved ones that this is what's happening. And you get to be brave to allow all of that to alchemize. Because once you get all of those old programs and beliefs and density out of your body by sitting with them and being present with them, what happens is you have access to an entirely new realm of a reality. You have more spaciousness. Anyone who has had an epiphany of an awakening understands what I mean when I say spaciousness. There is just more room around you, and it feels real, real good. This is what the presence brings to us. This is what presence has in store for us. It's not called the present for no reason. It is so yummy and good when we can stay here. This is where love lives. This is where nobody is bad, wrong, or shameful. This is where the bliss and benevolent joy and ecstasy of being alive in humanity lives, is in the present moment, after taking out everything that doesn't belong from this biology.
So beautiful, Brandy. And
Mm.
what has supported me in this, and I know it's going to support you all as well, is that checking with presence, a really beautiful way to check in with that is like, what experience of myself do I want to experience right now?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because a lot of times in the past, we haven't necessarily checked in like with that. Like, for instance, Brandy and I both have a lot going on. I have someone moving in tomorrow. I have a date tonight. I have a dog here that's running around, right? I have a construction going on the other side of here, and sometimes it can bleed in, right? And so I am constantly checking in with what experience that I want to have. I want to be connected to you all. I want to be connected with Brandy. I want to be connected with my dog right here because I love her, right? And this conversation, and that's a choice, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's a reminder of that priority of presence, of the experience you want your nervous system to experience. You want yourself and your life experience, and who or what you're in front of as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and to not judge that journey of getting to that point, to actually be anchored in presence, because it's one of the most, if you talk to anybody, can be one of the most difficult things to achieve, is presence, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is a true conscious effort. And the rewards for yourself, for your own health, for your own health and your own experience, to actually honor the here and now with that
Mm-hmm.
reverence of what is in front of you in that
Mm-hmm.
moment. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was learning, some of the tools that I learned and that I used. Well, first I want to say something that came alive in me while you were talking is the knowing that we are never not present, right? Our energy is never not here doing what it does. We are just not aware of
Right, exactly.
it. So what I mean is bring your awareness into what your body is presently doing and how your body is currently vibrating in the field. This is present. This is present. How is my body vibrating right now? And what Chelsey was just saying is, how do I want to perceive this? When Chelsey says choice, or to make this choice, she's talking about making the choice of perceiving, of perception. Yet I can perceive that this moment is somewhere I don't want to be, so I can leave and go to the next one or the one beforehand. Or I can be in this moment. Chelsey can be in this moment with the love of her dog and her community and of me and of us and here in this conversation. Or she could be present to the construction noise outside, and it could create agitation and annoyance. Or she could be present with, I have a bit of a headache. I could be present with this headache that goes on in my body, but I get to perceive what I want to be present with, or what my body is doing at this moment and what it is saying. And so, again, we're never not present. English doesn't really do all of this a lot of justice. We don't have a whole lot of vocabulary about this. We are never not existing. We're just not aware of what our energy is radiating into the field at any moment. And this is what present. So Chelsey and I have some tools we were talking about that we both used in this becoming present. Meditation. first and foremost, was the very first tool that most of us use, because this is a space in which you can become present and allow all of that density to move through your body in a controlled and intentional space. This is a beautiful first step. The second step is to go out into the grocery store and stay present with your body and see what comes up in this meditative state. You know, the third step is to go to your in-laws' house, see how that works out for you. Go see, you know, go and take your body step by step, nurture it step by step into presence in all of your arenas. And Chelsea, I don't know about you, but for me, I didn't even know what presence was. I was like, what do you mean presence? Yes, I'm here. Here I am. I am present. And that's not presence at all.
Oh my gosh, I'm with you, sis. I just thought it was like, okay, I'm in the same room, like, or I'm in the same room, or at least there's eye contact happening, but there's so many more layers. Like your body is present, your emotional intelligence is present, your eyes are present, your heart's present, your being is present. There's so many layers.
Yeah. And we come in and out of presence all the time. One of the ways that, you know, space holders, this is one of the most valuable things that we can give. Oh, Simone says the grocery store is her favorite place to be present. It's one of the most spiritual experiences in my life too, is the grocery store. Oh, I just got a little off track there, but okay. So what is presence, and how do I know when I am present? My favorite teacher, Eckhart Tolle, taught me in my 20s this presence practice, and this is something because in my human design chart, I have a lot of open motors. I'm a highly sensitive person. I get in the grocery store, I get a bit hijacked in my body sometimes with the energies that are around. And so in my 20s, in this, you know, when I was a little Eckhart Tolle groupie and I was following around in the power of now, and New Earth just changed my entire world, I needed to know when I was in that grocery store, what does presence mean? And so he taught me this tool. And he's taught a bazillion people this tool, I'm sure. And I would love to, well, actually, I'd love to talk about other tools, and then I'll end with this one because it's a little bit of a meditative event. So one tool that I use, and then Chelsea, I would love to know your tools. But one of the tools that I use is to activate my senses. And I learned this in college when there is anxiety. It's just activating the senses. And I'm sure everyone has heard this before, but the way I use it is I look for 3 blue things. And once I can find 3 blue things, I am in my sight. I listen to hear what I can hear. Once I identify 2 sounds, I am in my hearing. And then I go into my body and I say, what does my stomach feel like? This is one of my most favorite things. You probably have something in your body, something that always is talking to you. Well, for me, it's my stomach. What does my stomach feel like? And now I've arrived in my body. What does my mouth taste like? And now I've arrived in the senses of my taste. And now I've arrived fully in my body. And now I am here. This is one of the tools that I use when my nervous system is dysregulated because energy is moving through and I cannot stay present.
So good, so valuable.
Yeah.
And we can do this at any time. It's such a reminder of accessing these levels of presence, and really for everyone to know this is the gateways to it, no matter what scenario you may be in, right? When you need to access presence of with a relationship, right? Being present with the conversation, right? And you find yourself going, or you're in a meeting at work, right? And you're like, oh man, I am so not present right now. Or someone just said something that really hurt your feelings, right? And you're getting out of presence. You're going to the past of a trauma, and you're not in the present with the truth of what is. And so when we are sharing these tools, just a reminder of where they get to come in as you honor this anchored experience for yourself, and honoring the sovereignty of your being. And another tool that I love to use is I really call it in the moment. I prioritize presence in the moment of what I need, right? And I create spaciousness. Um, and a lot of times I didn't advocate for myself in those ways when I was triggered or I was hurt or whatever. I acknowledge that I need space, right?
Mhm.
And whatever the situation may be. And my key go-to right now where I am, and depending on where you are, is going outside, going outside. And some of us need to equip and get our coats on, and um or some of us, we take our flip-flops off and we're good to go. But being outside in the fresh air and in mother nature, taking off our shoes if we're outside, and planting into the earth and doing those, the box breathing, where you imagine your, when you inhale, a box is being illuminated, and you allow it to then come back and collapse. And I take like 5 of those deep breaths, deep inhales and deep exhales, then I'm able to then come back into my actual body, to what's actually true versus being hijacked in my mind. And and then being able to come from a place of neutrality, and to
Mhm.
also let whatever needs to come up at that point, right? And so it's not necessarily with the presence practice, for instance, if you're triggered, like to remain sovereign and present here, right? It's being present, like Brandy was saying throughout this talk, is being with present with what is, right? In this particular sense, it's like if I'm triggered, right? And if I need to cry, I'm going to go out and cry in the grass, right? Or if it's present, I want to be really present with a relationship. I'm going to laugh and be connected, right?
Mhm.
It's 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 just so important to have these opportunities to again be present with what actually is, so you get
Right.
it. Mhm.
Because if you're watching this, you are somebody that wants to see with the eyes of love. You are somebody who knows that there is more out there that can be our reality than what we currently exist within. If you're watching this, you know that you want to be loved, but you just probably don't know exactly how to continue to be loved, right? And presence is love, in my opinion. Presence and love are synonymous. And so when you are present, you are able to more handle your dysregulation in your nervous system. You are able to see what love sees. You are able to be present to not only your own experience, but the experience of the other. And that is the alchemy that is healing. It's not just joyous and blissful and really fucking fun. It's actually healing.
Yeah.
And so we want this. All of us here, if you're watching this, we want this too. And so staying present when our nervous system is dysregulated. I want to say nurturing, something Chelsey said, you said, Chelsey, that was beautiful, that I wanted to just kind of highlight and bring up to the surface, is that we are, a lot of us, and if you're watching this, you are awakening to the truth of who you are in the world. You are awakening to this more authentic, aligned, abundant version, your most favorite version of self. You are bringing that forth to the plane, and this is what you want. And in order to do that, present is needed. You cannot do it without being present. You do not have access to it without being present. And so, box breathing, identification techniques, getting allies to be able to remind you when you're not present. I remember in my first deconditioning year of this, of my awakening, when I was first really working to anchor my awakening into my reality, what I did was, here's another tool, is that I told my loved ones what I was doing. And I told them what it looked like when I was not present or when I was dysregulated. And then I asked them to give me a code word or to show me a little something that would help remind me that they see that I'm not present, that they can feel that I'm not present, that my energy is not here. And so one of those things, and I want to offer it to everybody, and you go home to do this to your people, is this. This is what I call my mudra. And if I see anyone doing this, this is my reminder to be present, to come into my body, to feel the energy in my hands, to twist my tongue, to breathe in this box way, to come back into the moment. So maybe if you'd like to, just another tool, if you'd like to give the people you love the information that this is what you're doing, and then have them give you a little high sign, you seem a little dysregulated, a little "I love you, you okay?" kind of thing. So that's another tool.
And like Brandy was saying, this reminder, this happens to all of us, right?
All of us.
Throughout the day, all the time, where we get to bring ourselves into regulation and just check in, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to continue to understand the beauty of these allies in our lives, to continue to collaborate on this level of self accountability with the beauty that we know that is possible for being present, right?
Mhm.
And it creates that practice of like, I'm voicing what I need and I'm allowing somebody to show up for me, right? It's a really good practice of actually receiving love and not shaming yourself for being hijacked in your emotions or being hijacked in frustrations, right? And actually what's possible, and we cut off so much time wasted on over analyzing, over freaking out, whatever, and I'm just an example comes to mind is that we had a retreat. We had a retreat in LA, and there were all kinds of unexpected things happening as the individuals were arriving. And we had merch that was in bags and boxes. Then we had an additional guests that we didn't know were actually coming
Wow.
into the actual space. I was about to open the container, and I was like, okay, there are so many moving parts that we're part of the flow here, and I need to be present for these guests, right? Because that's the priority. And I remember Anna, my colleague, came over and she grabbed my hands. She just grabbed my hands and we took 3 deep breaths together. And she looked at me, I looked at, and we're like, yep, we got this. We're good. Right. And and it's just the beauty of that to continue to, like Brandy was saying, call in those allies, and also continuing to speak your needs because people want to be there for you.
They do, and we're not in this alone. We're not here to do this alone.
Yeah.
And so in for the people who are experimenting with human design and the ones who are curious about it, I also just want to add this last piece, is that presence is what has you be the witness of your design's mechanic. Presence is what allows you to see when your open centers are a bit hijacked, when you're making choices from these open centers rather than these defined centers. In human design, presence is the only thing that gets you to see the beauty of the individuation. This is what Ra Uru talks about, being the watcher, is presence. Trauma-informed growth says co-regulation with safe humans has honestly saved my life. So here's, I love that you brought this up, because I wanna again just say how important the other is in this equation. This is such a paradox because we are in this time of individuation, of divine selfishness. I am going to be me. But the way that the creator designed it is that we get to individuate together. That the only way to become the divinely selfish me is to find my fractal of people that are here to help me co-regulate, and me them. Co-regulation is absolutely the new black. Co-regulation is where it's at, because we are not meant to be here in this field alone, trying to do this with just Mother Earth and our sounds and our music. You as a human being are one of the most powerful tools in my frequency healing. Yeah.
Amen, sis. Thank you, Layla.
Amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everybody who's joined and given their feedback. And here on Instagram, we have a bunch of feedback. On Facebook, we don't have much feedback, but we've got a ton of people watching. And so thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Before we end, I want to just lead us in just a short little meditation into the energy of our bodies. And it doesn't even have to be a meditation. It doesn't have to be that serious. This is something, like I said, that Eckhart Tolle, that I learned from Eckhart Tolle's teachings, that I use in the grocery store, like Simone said. I use this tool when I get triggered. I have most recently started dating again. And so I'm in this field. And so there's a lot of newness and growth that's happening in my body, a lot of old belief systems that are leaving. And so this practice has saved my life too. This remembering who I am in my body when I'm triggered through whatever's happening. So if you'll just get comfortable in your seat, just arrive. No rules, just comfort, just whatever feels good to nurture yourself. You can keep your eyes open or keep them closed, whatever feels good. You can breathe heavy or light, whatever feels good. And I'd like you to lift your hands up to where they're not touching your legs, but they're just here. And I'd like you to see, without looking at them, without moving them, if you can tell that your hands exist. Can you bring the attention from your mind into your fingertips? What does it feel like there? Maybe just your pointer finger. Do you feel it tingling? Or maybe do you feel your heart beating there? Can you move that tingling into each and every single one of your fingers? It's okay if you don't feel it. Keep practicing and you will. How do you know that you have hands without looking at them and without moving? How do you know? For me, I can feel the pulse in my palms. I do this every day. I can move that energy now into my wrists, into my forearms, and into my elbows. Now I move it up into my shoulders, through my collarbone into my heart. What does that energy feel like? Just let your heart beat there. This is presence. It's the easiest thing in the world to access. And it's the easiest thing in the world to overlook. You existing in this vibration right now. You are energy in form. I invite you to identify more with the energy than with the form. And so, if you want to just come back, it's super simple. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take skill. It just takes bring the energy into your hands. How do I know my hands exist? I say this in meetings when I'm a little anxious. I say this before I go to see my mother. I say this anytime I'm a little nervous about performing, I say, how can I tell my hands exist? And now I've arrived. So these are the tools I use and Chelsey uses. This is what we use to stay present, to stay aware, to stay awake, to stay with you and us at the same time. Let us know if you have any questions or thoughts, or you want to share about your experiences of presence. We'd love to hear them, either now or later.
And thank you, Brandy. That exercise felt so nourishing, and it's so amazing that even when you feel you're present, there's an opportunity to go deeper too. And so it's just reminding yourself on this journey of this is a continued practice, right? And the more that you become even more regulated in your body, regulated in your nervous system, continuing to lean into these tools on this journey of self-regulation and on this journey of deconditioning, that truly one of the main goals is presence, because this is an unfolding, a true unfolding. This deconditioning journey is an unfolding, and why we wanted to really start with presence is because the one you'll always come back to. You're always going to become, you're always, it's never ending, right? And the more that we can master the time between when we're feeling one way or a disconnect from presence, then the more and more we're able to live in pure alignment with what is available to us, and being able to really have that reciprocity with life that feels like we're truly on this inner knowing, on track feeling. Layla, thank you so much for sharing. I'm so glad that was powerful for you. I'm going to read this aloud. I've been really on the go a lot lately, and this practice is such a grounding thing to do, to come back to the body. Oh my gosh, it's so real. Like, thank you for sharing that, because a lot of us, we are in that position where we're like hop into meeting to meeting, or we have family that we're attending to, we have animals that we're attending to, we got errands, we got commitments, we got households, we got a packed house, we got company, right?
And we can do it in presence. We can do it with presence and love. We can.
Oh my gosh, totally. I just had a house full for, well, Brandy knows she's 100, she's as a mother, and I'm gradually coming out of this not necessarily like community living, like understanding what's possible from that, from being not necessarily like kind of, I like my alone time, right? But now learning that, oh my gosh, living in community when you access this understanding of presence is so beautiful. It's so loving. It's so connected. If we actually allow presence in, and not feeling like we have to go or be, or we're missing out, or we're, living in all these different spaces and places, but the present moment, it's actually quite beautiful. Yeah, we're cooking in the kitchen and I have a call, right? And then being like, oh, actually, I'm putting the attention and the presence of being like, wow, I have my loved ones that actually chose to live with me downstairs cooking breakfast. And for me, right? And right. And like allowing, like Brandy was saying, like, where does our presence go? Where are we choosing our presence to go? And giving the gift of gratitude through that lens will help come back to ease with this practice as well.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or any comments? We would love to hear them, and love to celebrate you and be available for you before we close out.
Thank you for being here, everybody. We are going to have many more of these conversations. The Quantum Collective includes another member now. His name is Richard Corbett, and he is a brilliant astrologer and has been teaching human design and experimenting with human design now for 23 years. And so what we are going to do in these conversations with Chelsey and I is we are going to be the yin. We are going to be, as Layla just said, the nourishers of this information. Richard and I are going to come on and give left brain and yang information and really mechanical design information of how to bring this body consciousness awareness tool into your body and what these mechanics mean, the science of human design. The Quantum Collective, Richard and Brandy are going to be doing that. And then Brandy, I talk to about myself in third person when I'm totally present, because Brandy does not exist when presence is here. And then Chelsey and I are really going to be spending this time to bring the tools, the yin tools, the soft, intuitive flowing through this education, the deconditioning tools, the nurturing tools, all of the things that we need to nurture our new budding self-awareness. So every single week we are going to have an offering, whether it be here on Instagram or on Facebook. So please catch up. To next week, Chelsey and I are going to be doing a manifesting generator workshop. And we'll post here the link to register for that. And in this workshop, we are going to be celebrating manifesting generators. We're going to be talking about the human design aura type of a manifesting generator, what it means, what the tips and tricks are, how to really feel your body awareness, your authority, your strategy. So we will do that next week on Friday. This is just the beginning of our workshops. We are going to be diving deeper into many different workshops through this Quantum Collective. So stay with us.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I know, as Brandy mentioned, we're looking to nourish our community. We know so many people have really also been waiting to be in a space with myself, with Richard, with Brandy, with Quantum Collective, as this safe space to come together with individuals to learn about their design, learn about their journey, their awakening journey, and just really being held through that entire process, and being wisdom and intellect and heart being shared from a place that is from true wisdom and love and compassion. And so it's our deepest desire is to create that type of environment for you. And so right. Brandy and I will both be posting along the way, either on our stories or on our feeds. And so just stay tuned and follow Brandy, follow myself, as we'll continue to post and share updates along the way.
Yeah. Thank you. We are excited. I am excited. I just want to add this little thing and say that I am so excited that the Quantum Collective has Chelsey Pierce and Richard Corbett. I am so excited that we have been able to bring together the smartest of the intellectual minds and the most brilliant, intuitive thought leaders and new paradigm bringers. So Chelsey, I am so grateful that you and I are on this journey together. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So grateful. So grateful. I love you.
I love you.
Amazing.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have the most beautiful rest of your day and weekend. And we can't wait to see you again soon.
Stay present.
Stay present.